God bless you all. We especially thank all the men of our St. Nicholas group who do much charity that only a certain few people know about, and that's the way we want it kept. Just like St. Nicholas. He lived a very holy life of being generous, of being kind, but most of the things that he did were unknown, except to a few people and, of course, to our Creator God. On this day, you may be seated. We're very blessed. Lucy Ogdi has taken over our 2021 Stewardship. And as you all know, stewardship is what's needed to keep the life of the church going. It's not just about salaries. It's not just about electricity. It's about ministry and about providing our mother the resources she needs. So a very passionate young man. Usually we have to beg people to speak because many people are shy to speak in church, but a math professor at the University of Houston, who is a very wise and very faithful Orthodox Christian, Eliagetic, has agreed to speak this morning about stewardship. Over the next this month and next month, we'll be having speakers speak about stewardship. Welcome, Leah. The podium? Would you like a podium? No? Okay. God bless you.
Good morning. I hope you all can hear me. My name is Ilya Jagdic, and thank you. My name is Ilya Jagdic, and as you heard from the father, I am a professor. I teach math, not at University of Houston, that's where I got my PhD, but I actually teach at Texas Southern University. And before I start, I would like to thank to our fathers for giving me this honor to speak in front of you today, and also I would like to thank you for your time. On the first day of every class that I teach, what I do is I introduce course to the students. I tell them what are my expectations for them and what do they need to do in order to get a good grade and to pass the course. And in addition to that, I also tell them that they have a choice. Are they going to listen to me, the one who has PhD in material that we are going to cover, the one who already passed that course when I was a student, the one who's going to give them all their homeworks, quizzes, exams, final exam, and pretty much the one who's going to grade all of that work, or they are going to go and to listen to maybe their cousin, friend, or who knows whose comment they read on internet, what they need to do in order to pass the course. Choice is upon them who are they going to listen. And pretty much exactly the same story is with us. We have a choice. Are we going to listen to our God, the one who gave us the life, who created everything visible and invisible in this world, or we are going to go and we are going to listen to some media such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TV, newspapers, and whatnot. We have this choice. And what are the things that media tells us? If you are a young person trying to meet someone to start a family, first of all, that media is going to tell you is that you shouldn't compromise, because compromises don't make anyone happy. Everybody are disappointed after that, so you shouldn't compromise. Also, media is going to tell you that you shouldn't rush to settle down because you have time, even if biology and medicine are going to disagree with that quite a bit. But what do they know except for the part that they are actually scientists who are studying the life? Media knows better. Also, media is going to tell you how to raise your kids, how to behave in a marriage, what should you do, what shouldn't do, and also, let's not forget, drugs are perfectly fine. Maybe not here in Texas, but they are perfectly fine. And how this media-shaped world actually look like, we don't need to look any further than into this year, 2020. As you know, by the beginning of this year, we were hit by this coronavirus that is still present among us. And back in March and April, we were all locked in our homes. And while we were waiting for that to come and to knock on our doors, we had an opportunity to see how our lives are going to look like when we grow old. The single people had an opportunity to see how it's going to be when they are old, when there is nobody around them to wish them good morning, to tell them good night, to ask how they are doing, do they need something or not. Also, parents who have children, they had an opportunity to see how those media-reason kids really behave, how they behave in a school, how well they listen in a class. Those whose children do not go to school, they had an opportunity to see how their children forgot about them, how they didn't call them on a phone to see how they are doing, what they are doing, and maybe even more important, to see how their parents are doing and if they need something. And even worse, many marriages saw how well our advice is given to us by the media on how they should have their marriages and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And if there is one thing that we're supposed to learn from this year is, number one, we need God. We need His Word, because He is the one who created all of this, not media, and He is the one who knows how everything runs and how we should do things in our life. And second thing is that we need a family, a healthy family. Family where kids listen to their parents, family where parents work together to raise those children, where they respect each other, where they love each other, and they will also work together to overcome all obstacles that come in front of them. That's what we need. Unlike my students who, when they fail the class, they have a chance to go back to that class, to take it again, to try to pass it again, we in our lives don't have a chance to go back in time and undo something bad that we did in the past. There is no such thing as traveling in time, and if you look at your physics books from your high school, you are going to see that there is even scientific proof that you cannot go back in time. But what you can do and what we can do is we can work on our future. We can come to church, pray to God. We can donate our money to the church so that everything that we have that was built by the people before us is preserved and saved for our children. And in particular, it needs to be saved for them because while we're a little bit older, have some critical thinking and we can think about what's good, what's bad. With kids, it's a completely different story. They don't have that critical thinking still developed, and they are going to pick up whatever they can pick up, wherever they can pick up. And for them, environment that we have here is extremely important because it's going to keep them from doing some bad stuff later on in their life. It's going to preserve them. It's going to be like their community. When they try to do something that they shouldn't do, for example, taking drugs, this community is the one that's actually going to preserve them and to stop them from doing it. Here you have Sunday school. There are various also camps that you can send your kids, and you should do it. So they meet other kids who also follow the path of the God, and to know that that's the right way to follow, not some other path that there is outside. And if you think that your kids can discover God somewhere on a street or in a school, well, I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. Unless your child is going to St. Constantine or some other religious school, there is not much chances where they are going to discover God. I have spent last 18 years of my life being at various schools as a student, graduate student, teaching assistant, and now professor, and pretty much every role that you can imagine that one can take in a classroom, I had that role. I saw everything. And I can tell you, you are not going to find God over there. You are not going to find His Word over there. You are going to find something else. And when I look at the people who found God at university, I don't see many of them. I don't say they do not exist. Actually, there is one person here in St. George who discovered the God in a church. But majority people that I meet and with whom I interact, I hear that they discovered God after something bad happened to them, after something tremendous that changed their life completely, and now they need to live with the consequences of that, what happened. Then they discovered God. And that's why I'm telling you that not just you, but also we and me need to donate our money to the church to keep us in a good faith and to prevent all the bad things that were happening to the people during lockdown to happen to us and to our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Leah, for those wonderful words. Again, Elia is on the university campuses. There's many aspects that we can discuss, but he specifically talked about our children and the future for our children. We want to be living a life where our children don't have to have people tell them about stewardship. It's something ingrained in them by watching their parents do it. So may God bless you as you continue to support St. George. If you haven't already made your commitment for 2021, we ask that you do so. If you haven't completed your commitment for 2020, we ask that you do that. If there's been any financial hardships, we completely understand, but we please ask that you let the office know so we can kind of change our books should we need to. Again, as I mentioned, I think we're very blessed that we have a visitor, a very special saint, St. Nicholas, who will be, oh, I've got bells, who will be receiving visitors in the prayer garden in front of the icon of Christ. So if the children and anyone would like to go see St. Nicholas, he will be there in the prayer garden.